In this video, we're going to show you how to install a brake caliper on your Jeep Grand Cherokee located behind your rear wheels. Using your 19mm socket, loosen and remove your lug nuts. Once you have the lug nuts removed, grab the wheel and set it aside. On the back side of our caliper here, there's going to be two rubber boots. There's going to be a little plastic cap there. I'm going to use my screwdriver and just pop that cap off. And that's the cap right here. Now there's going to be one just on the top side as well. There's going to be two in total. Now that we have both of these off, on the inside of the boot is going to be the hardware we need to loosen and remove. On the inside of these rubber boots is going to be a number 7 Allen key. We need to use that to go ahead and remove that bolt. Now we're going to remove this here. We're going to set it up into the top and remove that bolt. Now our bolts are not coming out from the sleeve yet, but you can look down inside from the top and see that the threads have separated. Now on the outside of the caliper that we just unbolted on the other side, we have these spring clips or anti-rattle retainers here. Just gonna use our little pry bar. You can go in here and pop those out. Go ahead and set that aside. Now we're using a C-clamp right now on the outside pad here in the back of the caliper, and we're just going to gently give this a little bit of a push here. We're just compressing the piston into the caliper a little bit to try and break that free. Now we have that loose there, but our bolts on the back side, our Allen bolts, don't seem to be releasing completely. Now we sprayed some lubrication on this here. I'm going to turn this and pry. I'll try and work that in. And there we have it. I'm going to go ahead and do the same to the bottom. Now that we have both of those bolts loose, we can grab that caliper and just wiggle that off. And we're just going to set this right here for now. Remove that other pad. Now I'm just going to use a securing strap. We're going to anchor this to the spring. This is going to hold the caliper up and out of the way. Remove the two 18mm bolts securing our brake caliper bracket. You can use a ratchet or a breaker bar. In our case here, we're using a bar because it's pretty tight and rusty. Once you remove that bolt, the brake caliper bracket should come off. Remove that, set that aside. Install the caliper bracket here. Now we went ahead and we cleaned up our threads and we put some blue Loctite on these threads. And let's go ahead and snug these down. Next thing we want to do is remove our 14mm bolt here that goes through our flex hose to our caliper. Now brake fluid is going to come out of this here. You want to have a catch can, a bucket, or something like that to catch the fluid as it comes out. Now we're going to take the bolt and we're going to install one of the new copper washers here. We're going to feed it through the block here. You want to make sure that the copper washers are actually off of this here. You should have one on the inside and the outside. So make sure that the copper washers are removed. One goes on the outside, one goes on the inside. Then you can go ahead and take your caliper here. I'm going to bring that around and get that bolt started on there. And once we have that on, let's go ahead and snug this down. I'm going to give this a quick wipe down. Install your outboard brake pad. Go ahead and grab that caliper. We're going to install our inboard pad. We're going to line this up. I'm going to put a thin coat of grease on our slider pins here. I'm going to put both of these up and in. And if you can, go ahead and get those started by hand first. And once you have them in a few threads, we can come back with our ratchet and snug those down. Torque down these slider pin bolts to 25 foot-pounds. Now once you have those torqued, you can go ahead and install the plastic caps on the rubber boots. Torque down the caliper bracket bolts to 70 foot-pounds. Install our anti-rattle clip here. Insert the pin into the hole and put it underneath the caliper bracket. Make sure that these pins are fully seated. Just everything looks good. Torque down our flex hose banjo bolt to 23 foot-pounds. Right above the flex hose here is going to be the bleeder bolt, and this little cap over this here. So you can just grab that cap. We're going to pop that off. Now the bleeder screw is a 10 millimeter. We're going to put our wrench on there and loosen that. Now the purpose of doing this here is we're going to do a gravity bleed on our brakes. We're going to go ahead and allow for the brake fluid to come through the backside of the piston and come out through this bleeder here. And once it starts coming out, we'll go ahead and tighten this down. We're going to hop in the vehicle, pump up the brakes, make sure we have a solid pedal. Now if you have a spongy pedal, you would now want to go ahead and proceed to a full brake bleed on the brake system. But if your pedal is nice and firm, you can go ahead and take it for a test ride after you put your wheel on. There's the fluid there. Go ahead and snug this down. And once that screw bottom's out, you want to give it just a little bit more. You want to make it snug, but not super, super tight. Give it a good wipe. Clean up any of the residual fluid that had gotten anywhere. Go ahead and reinstall the little plastic cap on there. Good, grab your wheel, line it up onto the studs, set it into place. We want to go ahead and install our lug nuts. Going to get them all started by hand first. Once we have these all started by hand, we'll come back and snug them down. Torque the lug nuts to 100 foot-pounds. Now underneath the hood, you're going to come on over to the driver's side. You're going to find your brake fluid master cylinder area and the reservoir. Now on the side, there's going to be a brake fluid level. There's going to be min and a max line. So what you want to do is, you can see through this, you want to make sure that the fluid is full up to the max line there, because we did lose a little bit of fluid through the old caliper as well as bleeding. So in order to top this off, unscrew the cap, pop this up. Sometimes this little rubber cap might be extended out. You just want to go ahead and push that inside so it's nice and flush like so. And then add the recommended brake fluid from the manufacturer through this opening here. Once that's leveled off, go ahead and install the cap. You can go ahead and close the hood, take the vehicle for a test drive.
When only the best will do, demand TRQ. The only company that lets you view before you do. TRQ is committed to offering the highest quality aftermarket auto parts that are engineered for peace of mind. Thanks for using and viewing with TRQ.